What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Blue, and today I'm looking at a video somebody created about the different levels of a Guardian in the world of Destiny. Now, I'm not playing Destiny anymore, but I'm still enthralled with the lore and the story that is Destiny, because I think that's the best part of that I ever loved about Destiny. It's the same reason I play Division so much right now, is because I like the storyline of Division. So, yeah, without further ado, let's hop into it.
Level 1. It has been said before that there is no...
And I will hop in and give you guys my thoughts about, like, do I agree with where he's putting certain ones, or not. I don't even know who he's putting on here, so I don't know. I don't know the lore of all the Guardians either, so I'm putting that out there as well.
such thing as a low-power Guardian, and that a Guardian's power is developed through discipline and experience. Ikora has even said that discussions over Guardian power are shallow, and that the spectrum is complex. But the Guardians placed in level 1 lack both experience in the field and any form of discipline. This is because the Guardians of this level are new lights, fresh risen, who have absolutely no experience in the wild. All light bearers begin in this level, and there are plenty of risen who are just beginning their legend today. Many have experienced similar things when they were first risen. Starvation, suffering, constant death and rebirth, all on their journey to the Traveler. Level 2. The Guardians in this level have more...
Okay, so level 1 is just fresh Guardians, okay.
...experience in the field. They have worked to develop their first subclass, but still struggle against the many forces of darkness and evil within the solar system. Caster 3 and Maeve, members of Sha Han's fire team, are examples of Guardians in this level. Caster 3 and Maeve were killed by Navota, air spawn in the Cosmodrome. These two Guardians, even Sha Han himself, struggle against the Hive and Navota. Navota was then killed by our Guardian and their fire team, without much of a struggle at all.
You know, that is kind of funny, because I don't remember either one of Shaw's companions all that much. Like, that's how unmemorable they were. That's why they're level 2s. I even think Shaw would probably be a level 2. He's kind of a... I feel like he's a knockoff of the hunter that was in the Bellwinter's Peak. I forget that hunter's name, but that hunter looked badass. Shaw just seems like he's kind of like a knockoff, a wannabe version of that guy.
Caster 3 and Maeve get an edge over level 1, as they have at least served on a fire team and have some experience, but beyond that, have shown no above average qualities. There are plenty of other Guardians who could be placed in this level, but the ones near levels above are far more interesting. A champion of defense, embodiment of hope, the ultimate Death Knight. He's an ancient warrior wielding godlike powers and... Wait, hold on. This isn't a Guardian from Destiny. No, this is catching the ult powers of our official barcode is on screen in the description here, having displayed some in the battlefield. Level 3. Guardians in level 3 are above average, having displayed some significant power. They are proficient with one subclass, and perhaps know how to wield another form of light, but they are not masters of either just yet. Sha Han is the Vanguard operator stationed in Old Russia. He wears the young Ahamkara spine and the strides of the Great Hunt, armor claimed from the depths of the Dreaming City in the Last Wish raid. However, these were not earned honestly. He picked up the exotic gauntlets from a thrift shop and has claimed to have never visited the Dreaming City, so the way he got that Last Wish armor is unknown. Many find Sha Han to be the worst Guardian, and while that isn't baseless, he is placed in this level for one specific reason. A lore tab describes Sha Han in the heat of battle, fighting against Cabal. He uses his golden gun to empower a squad of Redjacks like a well of radiance. This expression of skill is the only time we see a hunter perform something like this. Besides that, Sha Han shows no other exceptional power though. He's also kind of mean. He leaves us to die in the New Light campaign and severely underestimates us. Crow is the current hunter Vanguard, taking after Cayde 6, and was formerly known as Uldren Sov. In his past life, Uldren Sov was the brother of Queen Mara Sov. And
see, I would put Crow underneath Shaw, because Crow, he's learning how to be a better Guardian, but he's still very young in his life cycle as a Guardian, and not even on the same. Like, I feel like Shaw has been a Guardian longer, so I mean, I guess you could interswap these two, but I do agree that Crow is not a top-tier Guardian.
Became corrupted by Riven. This led to Uldren murdering Cayde 6. Our Guardian, alongside Petrovenge, killed Uldren Sov, avenging Cayde. Uldren was then resurrected by a ghost known as Glint, also known as Pulled Pork. and became the light bearer known as Crow. Over the last few years, Crow would learn of his past self and bear responsibility for Uldren's actions. Crow is a good-hearted character, and that has cemented him as the Hunter Vanguard. And he is not without skill. He was present during our war in the Pale Heart, wielding a golden gun that pushed back the Witness. But his legend is only just beginning, and that may change with time.
Yeah.
Shiro 4 is a Hunter
That's what I
Blade
was thinking
Dancer
of.
and Vanguard Scout. He is an expert weaponsmith, having created the Trespasser and aided in the construction of the Outbreak Prime.
Oh, shit.
He fought in the Battle of Six Fronts, one of the
Okay.
earliest conflicts fought by the last city. Shiro 4 was part of a fire team alongside Cade 6 and Andal Brask. The three of them got into battles with Tannix, the Scarred, which ultimately led to the death of Andal Brask. When Cade 6
Right.
became Hunter Vanguard, he tasked Shiro with collecting intel across Earth, Venus, and the Moon. He also engaged in frequent hit-and-run attacks on Fallen. Shiro was an important figure during the Siva Crisis, where he worked with our Guardian and Lord Saladin with destroying the technology and ending the reign of the Devil Splicers. His experience led to the end of Sepix Perfected, the destruction of the terrible experiments of Kavik, Splicer Priest, and the death of Axis, Archon Prime. The Vanguard views Shiro 4 as an invaluable extension of their force beyond the city, and for that reason, Shiro 4 is placed in this level. Micah 10 is a hunter, serving as a
Okay, hold on. So you're putting Shiro 4 in the same class as Crow and Shaw, but they're both new Guardians, essentially. And he's been around for, at least since the Battle of Six Fronts, he's been around for a very long time. Trespass is an amazing sidearm, and Outbreak is one of the best pulse rifles ever created. No, you got to bump him up at least one level, I would say. He can't be in the same category as those two guys.
den mother of ghosts for the Vanguard. She was born Micah Abram, living on Europa during the Golden Age, and had peculiar dreams. Hundreds of years later, she was risen on Earth and found solace in traveling with packs of ghosts who had not yet found their guardian. This led her into frequent altercations with Cyrell, the Ghost Hunter, a rogue light bearer who murdered ghosts who had not yet found their guardian, dragging their shells on a chain. Years later, during the battle against the Witness, Queen Marasov recruited Micah 10 to aid in the healing of the Traveler by discovering lost ghosts around the solar system. Through her efforts, she gained a strange connection to the Traveler, receiving odd visions that no other character has before. Level 4.
I didn't know that. That was another way to push back the Traveler was, that's not in the main storyline of the game. So that was in some type of lore you picked up, and I didn't read because I don't read the lore. If you don't give it to me in the storyline, I don't know it. And that's so cool that Marasov had this guardian who had a whole bunch of extra ghosts that hadn't found their guardians and used that light to help push back. That's freaking cool, man.
Guardians in this level have proven
cool.
themselves in the field.
Oh, I
they
miss
are a
Ice Strike.
master of one subclass and possibly know two very well. Some may have a unique connection to light or darkness. Sloane is a Titan and Zavala's deputy commander.
Sloane's
She's
pretty
an older
badass.
guardian, having helped construct the walls that surround the last city.
Right.
She was there when the Hive first appeared on Earth, and she fought in the Battle of Twilight Gap, the intense conflict when many fallen houses assaulted the city all at once. When the Red Legion invaded Sol and sieged the last city, Sloane, alongside Zavala and hundreds of Guardians, escaped the Titan. There, we worked with Zavala and Sloane to rebuild and rally the Vanguard and surviving Guardians. It was ultimately a success, and Sloane played a pivotal role in taking down the Red Legion. Years later, when the Black Fleet invaded the solar system, Sloane decided to stay on Titan. She donned a suit of power armor and battled against the onslaught of Hive. Alone on Titan, she bonded with the creature deep within the Methane Sea, Asa, the Proto-Worm. She was able to partially communicate with the creature, learning a lot about the Witness and the Traveler. She also
So Asa is a worm god, is a proto-worm.
Encountered Xivu Arath, the Hive god of war, who attempted to take her. Sloane resisted the Taken corruption initially, but her condition worsened over time. Years later, Titan returned to us, and we would aid Sloane and Asa. During the events of episode Heresy, Sloane taught us how to channel Taken energy without letting it control or corrupt us. A display of might and resolve. Not many can resist a Taken corruption. Because of her unique connection to the Taken, Asa, and the Light, as well as being Zavala's deputy, she is placed in this level. Eris Morn was once a Hunter Blade Dancer, and she's an expert in Hive lore. She served in the Great Ahamkara Hunt, fighting the Wish Dragons alongside Wei Ning, Ikora Rei, Zavala, and Shaxx on many different occasions. Following the Great Disaster, legendary warlock Ariana III led a fire team to avenge the thousands of Guardians that were killed by Crota and his hive. She was in a state of grief, as her partner Wei Ning was murdered by the God Knight. Ariana III, Eris, Toland, Saimota, Amor Aga, and Vel Tarlo delved into the Hellmouth. Vel Tarlo, a titan of the Pilgrim Guard, who was known for his strength and courage, having battled Hive and ended warlords, was the first to fall. He was overwhelmed by thrall that consumed his light, and Alakul the Darkblade rose from the shadows and killed the titan with his axe. Sai, a blade dancer, was killed, leaving Ariana alone, hurt, and drained of her light. What was left of her light burned bright as Iryut killed her with her death song. Toland was detached from his group and found Iryut, the Death Singer. He fell to her death song, which destroyed his body, redefined his existence, and gave him the ability to survive in the Ascendant Realm as an Ascendant soul. Omar, a hunter-gunslinger, was captured by the heart of Crota. He was tortured, his light painfully removed from his body, which felt like stripping muscle from bone. Omar reawakened after his death in the body of an insect, and eventually placed into the Xenophage exotic. Eris was the last one.
So, when you talk about the hive weapons like Thorn and was it Edge of Tomorrow or whatever it is, the one that like these are all built with like a soul inside of them. There's a guardian soul inside a Xenophage? Is that why it just claps so hard? Because I love Xenophage, but I didn't know that. Okay.
Standing. Her fire team was dead, and her own ghost Brya sacrificed herself to save Eris.
Right,
She
I know
felt an
that.
immense amount of guilt as she had watched all of her friends die. Eris, without light and without hope, somehow survived in the Hellmouth for years, using Toland's journal as a guide to the hive. She held the bone of an Ahamkara that she had slayed with Ikora. Using it, she wished for a way to survive, which replaced her eyes with hive eyes and a way out. Eris is a tricky one to place, as over the years she would grow in power, even becoming the Hive God of Vengeance for a moment, the most powerful Hive God in existence,
Right.
and created her own throne world. But only judging her time as a guardian places her in this level, which is what the purpose of this video is.
Okay, fair
the
enough.
Drifter is a man who has gone by many names. He is a rogue light.
That actually makes sense then. Yeah, because I was going with dude. She killed Xivu Wrath. And I mean, like she's bad. She's not to be toiled with. Like, don't mess with Eris Morn.
Bearer, not tied to
That
any
makes
specific
sense.
class, and handler of Gambit. It's hard to even call him a Guardian as he doesn't align with the Vanguard. Drifter is pretty old, being risen in the Dark Age where he witnessed the rise
Right.
and fall of the world.
He's kind of more in the Dredgen storyline. Like, you get a lot more about who Drifter is and what he's about through the Dredgen storyline, which is my favorite storyline that they did in Destiny, because you get to find out about how Thorn was made, how the Rose was once so the Rose, the handgun, the Rose was the precursor to Thorn. It was this one Guardian's hand cannon, and he dominated in the Crucible with it. Dominated, and he thought he was so good he would go into the Hellmouth and take on the Hive with it, and he almost dies, and he ends up using Hive bones, I believe Hive Night bones, and he wraps them around his Rose to become Thorn, and then he becomes Drudgeon Yor, that character. So I forget what his name was before then. You guys can let me know in the comments, but the Drudgeon storyline is still, I think I want to say that's probably my favorite subplot to Destiny. It's not like my favorite main storyline because it's not a main storyline, it's a subplot, it's a seasonal storyline, so it's more of a subplot. But the Drudgeon was so cool. The Drifter, I've always found him fascinating. I don't like Gambit, but I've always found the Drifter fascinating.
Lords. At the beginning of the City Age, Drifter and a crew of Lightbearers went out in search of power and discovered an ice planet that repelled the light. On this strange planet, they encountered shadow creatures that had the ability to suppress their light. These shadow creatures killed the Lightbearers of Drifter's crew, forcing the man to take the ghost shells of his fallen friends and modify his own ghost, giving it a unique connection to the light. When the Black Fleet came to the solar system in Season of Arrivals, Drifter teamed up with Elsie Bray and Eris Morn, learning how to wield stasis. They encountered House Salvation, and Drifter struggled against the Elixni. Drifter is a hard one to rank. He has not displayed mastery over the light like other Guardians. We've actually rarely seen him use it, but he has an advantage.
Okay, so before going any further now, I just want to put in like my top 5 Guardians. That where I would classify them. So, my number 1 Guardian, just because I know the lore of this, it would be Ikora Rey. Ikora Rey is hands down the most powerful Guardian ever to be Guardian. Excluding us as our character. I don't think I don't know if he's going to put our character, like our playable character, as in this list, but because then I would put us number 1 because we've done everything. But if you're going into just the lore, Ikora Rey is an amazingly powerful character. Like, she's insanely powerful. So she'd be number 1. Sate 14 would be number 2 because, again, I mean, he headbutted a Kel to death. Like, that's insane, and he's been around forever. As much as I don't want to do this, number 3 would be Osiris. Osiris, when he was a Guardian, was insanely powerful. Insanely powerful. No. You know who I'd put number 3? I'd put Anna Bray. Anna Bray, I know you don't get to see enough of her in the actual game. Like, you get her in Warmind, and then you get her in the season of the Seraph, where she's working with Rasputin and with her dad to try to stop the Dark Fleet, and it doesn't work. But if you know her storyline like I do, she is insanely fucking powerful. She is so powerful. Like, she takes right after her sister. Her sister's not a Guardian. Elizabeth's not a Guardian, but like, she's very powerful. So I would put Anna Bray, then I would go Osiris, and then number 5 would be Shaxx. Shaxx, you could argue Shaxx is probably the most powerful Guardian over. He could even probably outpower Ikora Rey, but I think if I remember in Destiny 1, if I remember correctly, I had a friend who read all the lore, and he may even comment on this video. But I believe Ikora beat Shaxx in the Crucible. Like, he lost to her. So if that's the case, then that's kind of what if I'm remembering correctly, then that's why I put Shaxx at 5 and put her at 1. But Shaxx is definitely my top 5 Guardian. As far as like the most powerful Guardians ever, like, that's my top 5. I'd like to know what you guys think, especially after watching this video, how this guy's putting them all out, because some of these I don't even know who they are. I don't know the lore of them, and it's really cool that he has the lore to back it up, and I don't. So, but yeah, sorry to interrupt, but let's keep it going.
Advantage in his cunning and intelligence. Osiris once consulted him on the engineering of the sundial.
Okay.
Osiris' superstructure used to waft through time to bring back Saint 14.
Right.
Cayde-6 is placed in this level. I know this might upset some of you,
No, that
and
makes
while
sense.
Cayde is one of the best written characters, his power does not match the ones in the level above.
Yeah.
Cayde-6 was a wild card,
I
known
agree.
for his bravery, cunning, and courage. Cayde was a master of the wild, having a plethora of hidden chests and stashes around the solar system. Cayde-6 killed Taniks, the Scarred, the fallen mercenary who eventually came back to life and killed Endal Brask.
The one thing I say about Cayde that made him so powerful to me was that he'd only been reset 6 times as an EXO. So, like Banshee 44 and whatnot, and you see those EXOs that have been reset a bunch of times. Cayde's only been reset 6 times, and he's still nothing to trifle with. You still shouldn't cross Cayde-6 on a bad day. Like, he can make you pay. And in Forsaken, when you see him take on Uldren and the whatever the abominations of the Hive are called, or the Fallen are called, I can't remember what they're called now, but when he takes them on, that cutscene that he does, like, if you realize the sheer weight that's against him in that fight, like, and then how many he actually takes out in that fight, like, that shows you how badass Cayde really was. But I would definitely agree with him putting him in this tier right here.
Brask was the Hunter Vanguard, and his death prompted Cayde to become the Hunter Vanguard.
Right.
During the events of Forsaken, Cayde traveled to the Prison of Elders alongside Petrovenge and the Guardian to end a prison riot. This ultimately led to his death at the hands of the Scorn and Uldren Sov. Cayde-6 put up a valiant effort against the Scorn, using both Golden Gun and Blade Barrage in the fight, but he lost his ghost, Sundance, in the process.
Yeah,
Cayde was ultimately killed by Uldren Sov. Years
And
later,
that was the thing.
Crow wished for Cade's return, who
Okay,
served
hold
as
on.
a guide for us during the final shape. And while he did not have a ghost, he was a being made of light, and he sacrificed himself to resurrect our ghost from death. Cade was a master gunslinger and a proficient blade dancer. While he was very cunning and courageous as a hunter, he did not display levels of power as the Guardians beyond this.
He had no fear. That was what was so nice about Cade too. And the cutscene at the very beginning of the Red War of Destiny 2, when you first start Destiny 2, you see the lack of fear that Cade has when Zavala goes straight defense, right? Pops out his bubble, right? Everybody to me. Boom, pops his bubble. What does Cade do? Cade doesn't go in the bubble. He pulls out his golden gun and starts shooting at ships. Like, Ikora has to save Cade because he's about to get smushed. So the one thing you could say about Cade was that he was fearless. It, the final shape was kind of sad because he really missed Sundance. He really missed his ghost, and he didn't want to be there. Like, the wish that brought him back was like, why'd you do that? Like, I was at peace with my ghost, with the light. You know, I was with Sundance, and now you brought me back, and I don't have, and that kind of bugged me a little bit because he truly missed his ghost, and that was why he made the ultimate sacrifice. Because a lot of people thought, oh, we're just gonna get Cade back in the tower, and I knew that wasn't gonna be the case, but no, yeah, Cade's the most fascinating character as far as storyline in Destiny.
Level 5. The Guardians in this level outclass the others by being some of the most legendary and powerful to ever live.
Here we go.
They
okay.
all are either masters of 2 subclasses or demonstrate power
Sorry, I
we've
keep
never
pausing
seen
it.
before. The man with the golden gun, Shin Malphur.
Shin Malphur, that's
was
what I was thinking
resurrected
of.
as a child by the ghost
Yes.
Jianxie. This aspect has been debated on, but Bungie writers have actually confirmed in the past that this was true.
Okay.
Shin Malphur would age, which is an oddity for Lightbearers,
Right,
as they
'cause we
normally
don't.
do not age,
Right.
and he would eventually reach his peak physical self. Jianxie would be killed by a fallen raiding party, and in the ghost's last words, told the child that he would have 1 life left. Shin was raised in the town of Palamon, where he met the hunter Jaren Ward, who
Right.
wielded the last word. Jaren Ward was
So Jaren Ward was killed by Drudgen Yor with Thorn, and the last word was picked up by Shin Malphur. And the funny thing, I'm sorry I keep pausing it, but a funny thing about the last word is that the Ace of Spades is based off of it because Cade wanted the last word and couldn't get it, and so when he designed his gun, he designed it based off of the idea of the last word. Granted, they do completely different things, but that's how, according to Laura, how Cade came up with the Ace of Spades.
killed by Dredgen Yor,
Right.
a rogue lightbearer corrupted by darkness who
With the
wielded
thorn.
the thorn. Dredgen Yor saw something special within Shin, but decided
Right.
to leave the boy alone.
Right.
Shin and Jaren's ghost would work together, the boy growing up to become a hunter and wield the last word. He eventually encountered Dredgen Yor at Dwindle's Ridge. Here
Right.
they had their epic showdown, and Shin Malphur empowered the last word into a golden gun, destroying Dredgen Yor.
Correct.
Years later, in response to Guardians curious in the Dredgen Yor myth, Shin Malphur created the Shadows of Yor, under
Right.
an alternate persona to weed out and lure Guardians who would fall into corruption just like Yor. Once the trap was set, Shin Malphur culled the weak-willed. Shin Malphur is a tricky one to rank, since his story is so odd and has been heavily debated. Some of you
Right,
might
how
think he should
powerful
be
he
in the
really
level
is.
below, and some of you might think he should be in the level above.
No, he's
It kind
the
of
right
comes
one.
down to your own interpretations
I agree
of
with
the
where you put
story.
him, 'cause you
But
don't
he only
really
had
know.
one ghost his entire life. Bungie
Right.
writer John Goff clarified this, saying that Shin and Jaren's ghosts were never paired. They just worked together. This means Shin was ghostless, but still had light within him that was strong enough to bring the deaths of Dredgen Yor and all of those in the Shadows of Yor. Shin was also very adept in the Crucible, which is pretty wild, considering that he went into the arena always on his last life. He never
Wow.
died, and I think this intrinsic light within him places the gunslinger here. Veteran
Yeah.
of the Great Ahamkara
Yeah, I
Hunt
agree.
and legendary titan Wei Ning. She was the leader of the
Don't know who
Firebreath
that is.
Order and partner of Ariana III. She was also
Okay.
the wielder of both Arc and Void Light, finding that it was easiest to form a Word of Dawn when she was angry. During the Great Ahamkara Hunt, she and Eris Morn ventured out into Venus and slayed 7 of the creatures by coming up with a wish to lure them into battle. Ikora Rey and Wei Ning fought the dragon Azarim, who placed Ikora into a trance that Wei Ning broke her out of by punching her in the face. Wei Ning was the creator of the Fighting Lion, crafting it
Okay.
to mimic the power of her fists. Her punches were so strong that they could move mountains.
Damn.
Wei Ning met her demise on the moon during the Great Disaster. As she challenged Crota to a fight, but fell to his Darkblade.
Right,
Member of
'cause he's
House
immune.
Bray, the voice of Rasputin, the legendary hunter
There she
Anna
is.
Bray. Anna Bray is a gunslinger who has a deep connection to the Bray family, Rasputin, and the Last City. In her past life, she was a psycholinguist and helped develop the Warmind Rasputin.
Correct.
When she was risen, she found an ID badge on her that told her her name. This prompted Anna to investigate her past life. She and Zavala got into frequent arguments regarding Anna's investigation of the past. This came to a head during the Battle of Twilight Gap. There was an onslaught of Eliksni raiders. Anna Bray's golden gun was so strong that it left pools of light wherever it touched.
Yep.
Quote, when she fired the gun, where her golden blasts hit home, she left behind the pools of light.
Radiant
like
light.
splashes of sunlight that burned and burned.
Yep.
And these pools of light were there long past the battle. This was a display of true power and strength that we have never seen before. During the battle,
I'd put her
Zavala
higher.
ordered all Guardians to retreat, claiming the city was lost. Anna, alongside Shax, Louis Feng, Nikichi 32, Idil Abidi, and Truce, held back the fallen onslaught,
Correct.
defeating thousands, which gave the others time to spring a counterattack. She held back the onslaught of Fallen. Later on in this battle, Anna allowed a Fallen captain to knock her off the side of a cliff, so that she could fake her death. Believed to be dead, Anna investigated her past freely, without Vanguard oversight. She dived deep into her family's history, eventually arriving in the Martian Hellas Basin. She discovered the presence of Frozen Hive among the Warmind facilities, leading into the conflict of Warmind. Over the years, Anna has helped us put a stop to many threats, and proved her strength as a Guardian. Hero of 6 fronts, Master Tactician, the Titan Vanguard Commander Zavala. Zavala is the Vanguard of the Titans and commander over the Last City. He oversees all Guardian operations and has led the charge in all of our battles. His tactical brilliance was a contributing factor to many of our victories, including the Taken War, the Red War, and the war against the Witness. Zavala arrived in the Last City when it was just a small camp beneath the Traveler. He became a student of Lord Saladin, and eventually Vanguard Commander, following Saint 14. He led the charge at Twilight Gap, battling against hordes of Fallen, and then went on to slay many Ahamkara. When the Red Legion invaded, Zavala's Ward of Dawn protected Cayde, Ikora, and many operators in the Hall of Guardians, holding back the fire of the Cabal's missiles, a display of true might. He led us to victory in the Red War and the many conflicts after,
CK.
including the clash with the Chosen, the Lucian War, and the final shape.
This is what I'll say about Zavala, is that Zavala, the reason I would put him lower on a list of Guardians is not that he's not powerful. He's very powerful. He's very capable, but he is a defensive-minded Guardian. He doesn't have any, like, he doesn't use his powers for offensive purposes. His are very defensive-based purposes. He's always putting up a barrier or a bubble, because that's how he thinks. I mean, he helped build the wall that's been up for forever. So we've never truly gotten to see Zavala maxed out. Like, even when he lost his ghost in the final shape, you're going, okay, but you never get to see him maxed out. And I would love to see a video of him just going ape shit and showing like his offensive capabilities. But we only ever get to see his defensive capabilities, so I agree with where they put him.
Where he tragically lost his light. Zavala was a master of 2 subclasses, Striker and Sentinel,
Right.
and that's something not to be ignored. Very few Guardians ever learn 2 subclasses, let alone master them. His tactical brilliance and leadership coupled with his sheer strength place him in this level. Youngest of the Iron Lords, Blade Dancer and Gunslinger Lady Aphrodite.
Ooh.
Aphrodite, alongside Saladin, are the only 2
Lady Aphrodite is insanely strong. That's all I know about her. Is like she is insanely strong.
surviving original Iron Lords. In the Dark Age, she found Saladin and asked to join the Iron Lords during a battle against the Fallen. During this fight, she picked up the Titan, hoisted him onto her shoulder, and then they both channeled Arc Light. The mountain that they stood on rumbled, and she threw Saladin with so much force that he crashed through the clouds
See
and
what I
into
mean?
the Fallen Walker, leaving a crater in his wake. She and Saladin would then
Very
go on to battle in
strong.
Ahamkara, and she herself once defeated 3 warlords.
Yeah, think about this. So they're up on a mountain, right? So this is what he's saying. I remember this now. They're up on top of, like, well, not a mountain, but they're up Fellwinter's Peak, I think. But they're up on like a wall, and there's a walker down below just raining havoc, right? And so they both charge up like their arc back in D1 when you had the Superman smash or the Hulk smash, right? And instead of just letting Saladin just Hulk smash onto it, she Hulk smashed him up into the air. Throws him way up in the air, and then he Hulk smash and then just like torpedoes through this walker. It's hilarious when you read about it.
with ease. She would later leave Earth, joining a pacifist group of light bearers in the far reaches of the solar system,
She's very
only
powerful,
returning to Earth to help Saladin during the Siva Crisis and the Red War. During the Red War, she killed 216 Cabal with 199 bullets. After this, she returned to her home, somewhere in the solar system.
Yeah, she's
Leader
due
of
for
the
comeback.
Iron Lords,
Saladin.
legendary Titan.
Oh no, not Saladin,
Lord
Radagast.
Radagast.
Yeah.
Radagast assembled Perun, Yolder, and Saladin to establish the Iron Lords in order
Right.
to fight against the Warlords. He defended the city during the Battle of Six Fronts, fighting hordes of Elixni. There's an Elixni war hymn that describes how Radagast destroyed many Elixni, only stopped by Kyrvix.
So the Elixni had two big fear. There was two guardians that the Elixni feared. Radagast was the number one feared guardian of all Elixni, and then Saint 14 was the other one.
Kingkiller, who was able to force him to retreat. He battled the warlords Seagoth and Rience, who tormented the innocent. While he did defeat warlords, he held the Iron Decree, which
Right.
barred the Iron Lords from killing Risen permanently.
Right.
He'd always spare their ghosts. Radagast tragically perished in the Battle of Site 6, destroyed by Siva.
Siva,
While there's
yep.
not much else known about this Titan, Saint 14 regarded him on the same level as Ikora. He was once asked
That's correct. That is 100%. I know I'm pausing it, but I listen. This is one of the all-time favorite games that I've ever played, and so I'm going to pause it a few times here and there and talk and put my 2 cents in. But yes, Saint 14 did talk about how Radagast, if he would have lived through the Siva crisis, he would probably be more powerful than Ikora Rey, which tells you how powerful Ikora Rey is. Really, I'm telling you, she's insanely powerful, dude.
quote, "Have you ever lost a fight?" With Saint responding, "More than I can count. I am no Ikora Rey, no
Right.
Radagast."
Nor Radagast.
This implies
right.
Radagast was near the same level as Ikora during that time.
Correct.
Known for being almost unbeatable.
That's
for this
what,
reason, he's
that's the line I remember was I'm no Ikora Rey or nor Radagast. That's the line I remember.
placed in level 5. Old Wolf,
Now
Val's
you get into-
Forge,
there you go.
Lord Saladin. This Titan is one of the only
Badass
surviving
mother.
members of the original Iron Lords. Lord Saladin and the Iron Lords brought the construction of the last city, and Saladin defended their home during the Battle of Six Fronts.
Right.
He was the only Iron Lord to survive Siva, and hosted the Iron Banner in honor of his
He didn't survive Siva. He locked it away with all the other Iron Lords, and it stuck in there. He didn't necessarily survive Siva. He outlasted Siva.
fallen comrades. Alongside Zavala and Shaxx, Saladin held the line against the Fallen during the Battle of Twilight Gap.
Right.
Decades later, Argardian and Saladin would work together to put an end to Siva for good, destroying it in the perfect.
I argue that too because Siva was is on not Io, the other one. Uh, what planet is it with the AI that had the dual personalities? That ship had Siva on board too.
Action complex. Years later, during the events of Season of the Risen, Saladin took on the punishment for the actions of Crow, who had accidentally killed one of Keidel's scions. Saladin became part of Keidel's war council, and was challenged to fight 6 times in a single week by her Cabal champions. Saladin won every battle, defeating even Avalis, the 3rd highest rank of the Cabal army. Dark Horse of Iron, son of the tyrant, Lord Felwinter. Felwinter was a master
I know nothing about this character. I meant to learn stuff about him, but know nothing about him. So let's see.
Voidwalker, wielder of the Dawnblade, and former warlord.
So
Lord
he's a Void
Felwinter is an
Solar,
interesting
okay.
case, as he is part Warmind, part Guardian. In the Golden Age, Respian executed a protocol known as the Siddhartha Golem, which created an exo to gather information. This exo went dormant due to the collapse, but was revived by a ghost, becoming Felwinter. He claimed the mountain known as Felwinter Peak, and established his rule as a warlord. He encountered the Iron Lord Timur, and instead of fighting him, he showed him the potential of Siva. As a display of loyalty, he gave his mountain to the Iron Lords, which became their base of operations. Felwinter was a force of power in the field, and displayed no mercy to his enemies. He was brutal, and caused the final deaths of many warlords by destroying their ghosts. He once captured a warlord's ghost and embedded it into the back of his helmet, much to the disgust
Wait, what? So Fellwinter had an active ghost in the back of his head, that would be annoying.
Disgust of his fellow Iron Lords.
But that's
On one
funny.
occasion, he battled a warlord known as Seitan, defeating him with a void-empowered shoulder charge, a technique taught to him by the Titan Yolder. Level 6. The Guardians in this level easily outclass the ones before. They are masters of multiple subclasses, demonstrating power that no Guardian
Same
has come
14's gonna be in
close
this
to.
one.
Lord of War, Master Swordsmith, hero of Twilight Gap, Lord Shaxx. Lord Shaxx is the manager and overseer of the Crucible, and a titan with a plethora of accolades to his name. He is a master of 3 subclasses, Defender, Sunbreaker, and Striker, which is incredibly significant. He was a former warlord, challenged by Lord Fellwinter countless times. One of these battles was very brutal. Quote, Fellwinter stepped forward, dragged a solar sword from the air, and thrust it at Shaxx. The warlord turned his stance sideways as the burning blade sang past his helm, ducked the horizontal cut that followed, and stepped back as Fellwinter drove the blade into the stone floor. The chamber erupted with ethereal fire and solar light. Shaxx's backfist took Fellwinter's head from his shoulders in a shower of sparks.
Wait, so he decapitated Fellwinter? We just talking about how Fellwinter was badass, and Shaxx decapitated him in one instance. Maybe that's how come Shaxx only has one horn on his helmet. Maybe it's because Fellwinter's when he dodged it, he cut that other horn off.
The Iron Lord's light died with his crumbling form.
That's funny.
Fellwinter continued to challenge Shaxx, but the Titan always won.
Right.
In the end, Shaxx submitted to the Iron Lords, leading his people to the small camp that eventually became the last city. In the Great Ahamkara hunt, Shaxx slayed the Ahamkara known as Hefend and fought in the Battle of Six Fronts. During the Battle of Twilight Gap, Shaxx defied the orders of the Vanguard to retreat.
Right.
Instead, rallied a small fire team to hold off the fallen horde, which proved to be the right decision.
Yep.
Shaxx has an unbreakable resolve and will, which has placed him in this level. The Gallant, champion of the Crucible,
Same 14.
Warlock Vanguard Ikora Rey.
Oh.
Ikora Rey is one of the most powerful warlocks to ever live.
Told
While
you.
Ikora finds discussions regarding Guardian power shallow, she was measured to be a 5th Sigma Guardian, 1
Right.
in 3.5 million. There's expected to be only 10 other Guardians of similar power, but Ikora was once only 1 Sigma above average power. It was through experience in the field and the Crucible that sharpened her power and abilities. It was by her own resolve and discipline that she became so powerful. Ikora is a master of 4 subclasses: Voidwalker, Stormcaller, Shadebinder, and Broodweaver. She effortlessly switches between using Arc and Voidlight, as seen in the Witch Queen campaign.
Right.
Her void abilities are so strong that she once unleashed both a Nova Bomb then activated a Nova Warp within a few seconds of each other. She is a master of the Blink ability, able to cross huge gaps of distance. She once held a nuclear reactor together during the events of the Edge of Fate, by continuously dying over and over to hold it up. During her early years, she was a champion of the Crucible, the first to ever have a 25-match streak victory, and the first to beat Shaxx. Ikora served in the Great Ahamkara hunt, slaying dozens of Wish Dragons. On one occasion, she and Eris Morn battled an army of Ahamkara, taking them out with a storm of combined arc light. Ikora was a student of Osiris. She then went on to conduct her own studies and research, cementing her as one of the smartest and knowledgeable Guardians to ever live. Ikora is arguably...
Fun fact, Crow is now the Hunter Vanguard, but she's technically the only OG Vanguard that still has her ghost.
The strongest Guardian to ever live, and some say that we still have not yet seen all of her power. Warden of the Infinite Forest, Phoenix of the Dark Ages, Scholar of the Cosmos, Osiris.
Yep.
Osiris was one of the most powerful Guardians before...
See, I would put Ikora way over Osiris, just because I just don't like where Osiris' story went. Like, D1 Osiris, I would totally put over Ikora. I'd put him on, there would be very few Guardians that could challenge Osiris. But then he got his own DLC, and they completely shit the bed with this guy, with this character, and they only made it worse. Like, they made it so bad in the Curse of Osiris DLC that people hated Osiris. They liked his ghost, but hated him as a character, and then they continued to make him a bad character to the point where a lot of people wouldn't put him at this level. This guy's doing it right by saying, yeah, technically speaking, he is more powerful than Ikora. But me, I wouldn't put him there.
before he lost his light. He studied under Felwinter, becoming just as powerful as him, quickly surpassing the Iron Lord's abilities. Osiris was radical in the eyes of the Vanguard. His study of the Hive and Vex led to prophecies regarding the light and darkness. These prophecies and messages led to the creation of the Cult of Osiris, followers of him who spread his word. This ultimately led to Osiris' exile from the city, as he was deemed a heretic. He would enter the Infinite Forest on Mercury in search of more information.
And this is why I believe that they could easily bring his ghost back. Sagira could come back because of the Infinite Forest. Now that the Dark Fleet's gone, Mercury could come back, and Osiris could resume his studies in the go back into the Infinite Forest, find a version of himself that still has Sagira, and absorb that version of himself with Sagira, and then bam, he has his ghost back.
And knowledge of the Vex. In the Infinite Forest, he created reflections,
That's
copies
what
of
I'm talking about.
himself imbued by the light that he could control. Our Guardian would work with Osiris and his reflections during the events of the Curse of Osiris, where we would defeat Panoptes. Years later, Osiris discovered Vashir and Kinox, daughters of Crota, and the High Celebrant, an emissary of Xivu Arath. It was in this battle Osiris displayed his true strength, as he used supers from all three elements seamlessly. He wielded a Dawn Blade in each hand, and using his reflections, sent light crashing down onto the Hive. Quote, Osiris distinguishes a blade into his palm to form a singularity of void and hurls a Nova Bomb that consumes them. With his other blade, he drives it into the ground, erupting a well of radiance surrounded by a phalanx of gilded echoes. Nobles shriek for their thralls to charge. Bolts of flame and arc tear through them as Osiris blinks through the void from one echo to another. Their advance breaks. He steps over their smoldering husks and turns the blaze to their masters. Later in the fight, battling a projection of Xivu Arath, Osiris uses Sunsinger and immediately after uses a Chaos Reach of Arclight. In the end, Osiris was overwhelmed by the High Celebrant and the forces of Xivu Arath. Sagira sacrificed herself to destroy the projection of Xivu Arath and the cryptolith that casted it, but at the cost of Osiris' light. In a state of vulnerability, Savathun possessed Osiris, taking on his body like a puppet. Years later, Osiris would be free, learning the powers of Strand, but without his ghost and without his light. But still, Osiris is one of the most powerful to ever live.
I agree.
He demonstrated that he was a true master of all three light abilities, using them in quick succession of each other. He was just using super after super after super. That has not been seen anywhere else. For that reason, the Phoenix is placed in this level. The Pigeon, the Violet King, the greatest Titan who ever lived, Saint 14.
I love how he says it too, the Pigeon, the greatest Titan ever, like he's really building into him. Now, before we get into this, Saint 14 up until the later ends of the Final Shape storylines, I was a huge Saint 14 fan. I really dig Saint 14. I really thought, I mean, man, I wore his gear. I had, at one point, my Titan was just looked like Saint 14. Like, I had the helmet Saint 14 on, I had all the Saint 14 armor. I used the Saint 14 shotgun, all of it. Like, I just wanted to be like him. And they ruined him for me. His storyline gets kind of weak. He starts to get kind of weak. He's not a weak character. He's not weak. There's no weakness in Saint 14, and yet they give him weakness, and that the devs did, not the game, but the devs gave Saint 14 weakness, and he doesn't have any. That's the whole kicker with Saint 14 is he's the Superman of the Destiny franchise. He is the all-powerful, he is kind of being, and we had to go back in time and rescue him. Just to bring him forward so we could get to where we needed to get to the Final Shape, because we couldn't get there without our Superman, essentially. And again, they weaken him. They give him weak points, and he doesn't need them. And that really pissed me off with him. But still, yeah, he's in my top 3 as far as. So, yeah, it would be Ikora, Saint 14, and Anabrea would be my top 3.
Saint 14 is one of the strongest Guardians to ever live, and arguably the greatest Titan of all time. He was the first Titan Vanguard and the right hand of the Speaker, who considered him as a son. Saint 14 was a master of the light, wielding all three elements, but was most proficient with Void. During his early years, Saint 14 took to Zephyr Station on Mercury and encountered the Vex. Overrun by the fallen of House Rain and pinned down in his Ward of Dawn, Saint 14 was hopeless, but our Guardian used the Sundial, returning to this moment to save Saint and give him
Right.
the perfect Paradox shotgun. This fight inspired Saint 14 to become the Titan of Legend. Our Guardian played an important role in that. We were
Right.
viewed as his savior. Saint 14 would then go on to fight in the Battle of Six Fronts, prompting him to go on a crusade against the Eliksni Raiders. He destroyed fallen houses like it was nothing, killing countless with ease, becoming a monster of myth among the Eliksni.
Right.
He battled in Twilight Gap, and after hunted down Sulcus, killed the House of Devils. The battle was tough, Saint expending a lot of his light, but he killed Sulcus by headbutting him with the horn of his helmet. When Osiris was exiled and entered the Infinite Forest on Mercury, Saint 14 went searching for him. He spent decades in the Infinite Forest, slaying thousands of Vex. The Vex were forced to create Agioctics, Martyr Mind, a Vex mind designed to drain the light of Saint 14 specifically. Saint 14 was ultimately defeated, but out of respect, the Vex created a tomb for him, surrounded by countless Vex.
Yeah, I remember that. And then think about that. He was so badass. He was feared by two different factions, right? He was feared by the Vex, and he was feared by the Fallen. And the Vex had to create a paradox inside the Infinite Forest to drain him of his power to kill him. And then once they finally did achieve this feat, they gave him his own memorial, essentially. And I mean, when you go there, there's mountains of dead Vex all around him that he killed. It's insane.
Chassis that he had destroyed. Using the sundial once more, we returned to the moment of his death and prevented the Titan from dying. This led to the return of Saint 14. Saint 14 continued to display his power in our time. When Savathun was resurrected in Season of the Witch, which we did in order for her to help us, Saint 14 tracked her down in her throne world. He ambushed her with his Sentinel shield and took her ghost of Maru in his hands, demanding him to bring her back to life so that he could kill her once more. Saint continued to kill Savathun over and over and over again, insulting her each time and then killing her. He eventually left her and returned to Osiris and wept. During the final battle against the Witness, Saint 14's Ward of Dawn stood strong in the face of the endless forces of darkness.
Yep.
Level 7. Crota's End, Kingslayer, Riven's Bane, Godslayer, the Young Wolf,
that's
the
us.
Guardian, you. Our
Okay.
player character, the Guardian, is the most powerful Guardian of all time.
Agreed.
And deserves a level all to their own.
Fair
While
enough.
many of our greatest defeats have been alongside a fire team of 6 or 3, we didn't solo the Witness or Oryx canonically, we are still the most powerful to ever live. Just
Fact.
by the fact that we were an instrumental part of these fire teams says so much about our character. Our Guardian has been such an important factor to the deaths of the strongest beings in the entire galaxy. Our Guardian is a master of both light and darkness. We are a master of Void, Solar, Arc, Stasis, and Strand, which is something that even Guardians in level 6 do not match.
Right.
This manifested in Prismatic, where we are able to wield both light and darkness all at once,
Together.
transcending to a new level of paracausality. Our Guardian is the only person that can wield Prismatic, that can command light and darkness at the same time. No other Guardian can seamlessly use light and darkness at once in the way we can. Our Guardian is consistently the Vanguard's #1 operator for new dangers and threats. It was our Guardian who inspired Saint 14 when he was trapped on Mercury. It was our Guardian who crippled the House of Devils and destroyed the Black Heart. It was us who helped destroy Atheon and Skolas and Crota and Oryx. It was our Guardian that destroyed Siva and avenged the Iron Lords. It was our Guardian that aided the Traveler in destroying Gaul and the Red Legion. We are the ones who destroyed Panoptes, the Infinite Mind, and Zol, Will of the Thousands. We were the ones who avenged Cade 6, killing Uldren Sov and the Scorn Barons. We were there
Scorn.
for the destruction of Riven of 1,000 Voices and the High Celebrant of Xivu Arath. We were the Vanguard's chosen champion against Kaido's armies. We destroyed Kuria, Blade Transform, and Savathun and her Lucent Brood.
Right.
It was our Guardian who helped slay Nezarec, Rolk, and Callus.
Yep.
It was our Guardian who was the chosen Seraph of Rasputin and the first to master Strand. It was us who tithed to Eris Morn, and it was our Guardian that Oryx chose as his heir presumptive, the knife of his slaying. It was our Guardian that helped destroy the Witness, the being that threatened the entire universe and brought humanity's collapse. It is our Guardian who is the Gardener's final argument. It is our Guardian who transcended light and darkness in Prismatic. It is our Guardian who became legend. Thank you for watching this video, and thank you channel members for your...
Yeah, guys, check out that guy's channel. Let me know what you guys think of it. Um, I I I agree with everything. I didn't think he was going to put the Guardian as number one. I would too. I mean, I didn't think we would be in that list, but that just strikes my point with Saint 14 even more, right? Being Saint 14 is the in world like Superman, right? Because if it's not us, if we weren't around, Saint 14 would be the number one go to guy. And yeah. So what are your guys' list? Who would you put? Where would you place all these Guardians at? Obviously, you got to put the Guardian above everybody else. But where would you put the other ones? Let me know in the comments below, guys. Go check out this guy's YouTube channel. It is called Abandon. Go check him out. Give him a subscribe. Do the thing for him. Help him out. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.